Hey, I'm the drunk carpenter, and I'm gonna take this freezing shop into my warm, comfortable shop. So I'm here in my soon-to-be shop. The problem is, this is Wisconsin, and it's December, and it's freezing out here.
I think you're gonna be cold as shit.
What's that movie that this guy's in? Anyways, that's how I feel out here. So it's currently about 10 degrees outside. It's maybe 30 in here. Sure doesn't feel like it. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to insulate this thing so we can be out here in a bathing suit. Maybe not a bathing suit, that'd be kind of weird. All right, first we're gonna have to warm up. Ooh, a bush latte should help.
Drinking beers.
Stupid gloves. All right, now we need some insulation. All right, got that. Got it. Ugh. Okay, what I have here is bat insulation. With this garage, I'm insulating just over 500 feet, well, square feet. And with bat insulation, this should be just enough to do that, hopefully. That would suck if it didn't.
This plan better work.
This stuff is cut your own length. It's a lot like rolled insulation, but it's just not rolled. And it's about half the price, so hell yeah, I'm buying this stuff. But it comes in a big pack like this. All you gotta do is cut it open and let it breathe a little bit and it'll open up. That's why this package doesn't look like it's gonna insulate the whole thing, but it's extremely compressed and it's really heavy. Let's get started. Okay, now let's get started. The great stuff about this is that it's not very complicated at all.
Ooh, you're gonna regret that.
Put it in your stud. Okay. I promise it's not complicated. Okay, well, I need a ladder. All right, so these are 15 inches wide, and when you're doing regular 16 on center framing, these things will pop right in and no need for staples. Problem is, this side, the framer must have been a little lazy. It's almost 17 inches on that side. So there's a little bit of a gap. That's why the insulation's not staying in place. I had to staple it up, and I'll have to go back and put a little extra insulation on the side there.
That little extra.
But if you got a good framer, this thing will fit nice and tight in there. Like so. No need for staples, and it'll stay right in there. Perfect. Get another sheet and maybe another beer. But this is why bat insulation is super easy, super cheap. Completely recommend it. It's cold out here. So as you can see, insulation rolls don't quite make it to the top.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
So all you gotta do is measure how much you need, and then you're supposed to take a knife and cut it, but who's got time for that?
Anybody got time for that?
We're just gonna rip it. There you go, perfect fit. All right, insulation is all done. And I need to change and take a shower because that shit is itchy.
Itchy, why am I so itchy?
But it's all set up, looks great in the walls, and already I can tell that it's a little bit warmer in here. I got a little heater and I'm feeling good. But next we're gonna cover this up with some plastic sheeting. And it might be a little strange why I'm doing that, but here's kind of the gist of it. So this is all fresh lumber. It's got a really high moisture content in it, and over time it's gonna dry out. And that's also the reason why I got this open face insulation and not the face. Face insulation has a paper backing on it, and while these boards dry out, that paper can soak up a lot of that moisture, causing mold.
Oh.
So if you got fresh lumber, you want to use unfaced insulation, plastic sheeting, and that's going to keep all the moisture out of the garage. It's going to push it towards the outside of your house through that house wrap that lets moisture outside but not inside. I don't know how that does it. It's like magic or something.
Magic.
But in theory, no moisture is going to come inside the garage. It's all going to dry out and then get pushed outside of the house, and it shouldn't create any mold. So all I got to do is grab that plastic sheeting, a staple gun, and we can go ahead and put this up. I need like 6 more inches on this ladder. Time to do some sketchy shit. Build a platform.
I'll call it anyway.
That should help, hopefully. Where did I put the staple? I'm pretty sure half of what I do is just looking for stuff I just put down. All right, here. But even with an older garage, a vapor barrier is still recommended. It has something to do between the heat exchange between your warm house and the cold outside, or vice versa. That temperature change through your wall can create moisture, and that vapor barrier stops it from traveling through your wall. If you're looking at doing this, please do some research. So just watch out for what people do in your area and probably do that. All right, it's gonna take longer than expected, but you get the idea. Staple it up, staple it down the 2x4s, and you got yourself a plastic sheet. So at this point, I completely lost all my audio, which really sucks because I made a killer joke about this looking like a killing scene in Dexter. But now that we got our insulation and vapor barrier, it's time to put our final barrier up. You can do all sorts of different materials such as paneling, plywood, or probably the most common, which I'm doing, is drywall. And I don't know what you guys think about drywall, but it's one of the worst things ever. I hate doing it. Putting it up's not that bad, and I'm glad I put all these electrical outlets in here, but man, does it make it a pain in the ass to drywall. All right, so I got the drywall all up, and I've been really fighting with myself.
Put 'em up.
Because my plan was to put the drywall up and then just leave it as is. I was not gonna mud. And the reason I was fighting with myself is because I don't really know how much mudding the entire walls actually helps it with the insulating purposes. Obviously, it makes it look nicer, and it does help it insulate a little bit. I mean, you are sealing up cracks, so it is helping out, but is the time and effort worth it? I don't know. And I get it. A year down the road, I'm gonna be really happy I did, but right now, I hate my life.
I hate it.
I mean, drywalling's a messy job. And when you're a non-drunk professional like me, it's just not very fun. I don't like it. But as you can see, I finally got it all done. We got insulation, vapor barrier, drywall, and now it's all mudded. So our walls are perfectly good and insulated. But there is one more step we gotta do.
Gotta be kidding.
And that's gonna be going upstairs. So I'm gonna be climbing up there. Oh man, why did I leave my nice warm basement for this? All right. So here we are in my attic, and you can hear the wind. It's still December, it's still really cold.
No shit, huh?
But as you know, heat rises. My shop's right underneath here. The heat's gonna rise, come right up into here because we got no insulation at all, and I'm gonna be heating it for nothing. So if we take a peek over here, you can kind of see what I'm trying to get this area to look like. And we're gonna use that with some blown in insulation. But first, there's some maintenance that we wanna do up here before we put that insulation in. Oh, it's probably a good shot of my butt. Oh, getting too old for this. So you're still gonna want some airflow coming into your attic. That's why you can hear all that wind coming in. It's actually coming in from the ledges on the side of the house. It comes in and follows the top of your roof here. And what we wanna do is install some soffits. So that's gonna keep an area open to where you can still have that airflow, and it's gonna stop that insulation from going down in there to where it's gonna block out that airflow that's coming into your attic. You can definitely go ahead and buy them in the store and install them, or I wouldn't recommend what I did. But all I did was grab a sheet of plastic and nailed it up on my rafters. All I want to do is hold that insulation back and not cover that area. You know, I'm just trying to save a couple bucks, you know. I got other expenses. Where's my beer? Man, this is the worst. Installing that plastic is not fun. It's hard to get around up here. I hate to fall through the ceiling. So before we start the blow-in insulation process, I'm gonna go ahead and put in some insulation measurement ruler things, but they're pretty much board paper that have a ruler on it. When you buy insulation at a hardware store, or at least mine anyways, they give them away for free. Make sure you snag up a bunch of them. And this is the machine that's going to be doing it. This is an insulation blower. I'm sure there's a bunch of different variations. This one was a rental, so of course it's not the highest quality, but it works by eating up that insulation and blowing it up the hose right into your attic. I'm sure there's better ways of loading this thing up than what I'm showing you, but as soon as you cut open these bags, that insulation goes wild. Without a better machine, I don't know if there is a better way of loading it up, but all we're doing is cutting open the bale, taking as big as chunks as we can and loading it up into the machine, and from there you can see that it just grinds it up and blows it off. And if you get to be the lucky guy that's upstairs, there's really not much to it, you're just blowing insulation. But honestly, there's something kind of satisfying with doing this. But this is why those insulation rulers are so necessary. Again, it's just really hard to keep track of where you are, so putting up those references as many places as you can is really helpful. But before you know it, it looks like your attic's full of snow and you're insulated. Alright, so that's all I got for you this time. Just remember, insulating your shop can be pretty intimidating, but hopefully by following this video and checking out guidelines for your local area, it's really not that bad. Not gonna lie, it was a lot of work though. But it is currently about 20 degrees outside and it's feeling great in here. And make sure you give this video a like, it helps us creators out a lot. And don't forget, grab a beer and build something. Man, beers taste good after a job well done.